Yes, everyone, how are we doing? Yes, you're correct, that is Hampden Park behind me. I've come out to the southeast of Glasgow today just for you, just to get a feel for the place ahead of another big game for Celtic. Tomorrow night, we are here. It's going to be dark by kick-off, I assume. It's Celtic versus Kilmarnock in the semi-final of the Viaplay Cup. We've got all of the chat ahead of it. And we will have all of that chat ahead of it, like Ange team news, general chat about the match, the atmosphere, the kick-off time, etc. I'll even do a predicted 11, give you the officials, but we'll do all of that after we work through some of the latest news to do with Celtic. And at this time of year, I'm mainly talking about transfer news. Last did a video on Tuesday. I've been writing over at 67heelhail.com over the last couple of days, so my ear has been to the ground, if that is the saying, and I'm well aware of what has been going on transfer wise. A lot of it centres around one man. You'll know that by now. His name is Cho Gue-sung. He's a South Korean striker. Dare I say that it's turning into a little bit of a saga with all of the reports. We've been getting loads and loads of stuff out over the last few days, some of it good. Today, not quite as good. I'll just kind of run through the developments since we last spoke on Tuesday. So, first of all, it's said to be ourselves and Bundesliga side Mainz who are in for him mainly. There's been mentions of a couple of other clubs like Ferencváros, Minnesota, possibly in America, but mainly seems to be down to Celtic and Mainz at this stage. On Wednesday, the Mainz sporting director Christian Heidel came out and effectively said that Mainz could be priced out of the deal, that if Cho was to go for €3 million, then Mainz wouldn't be at the table. So that seems to be kind of their limit, or certainly above their limit, which seemed like good news. Then we got more of it yesterday with Cho actually doing an interview in South Korea, saying that he'd been speaking with key club members about a move. Those members included former Man United midfielder Park Ji-sung. Should he make the move now? Should he wait until the summer? The consensus from Cho seemed to be that he would be daft not to take a good opportunity should it present itself to him right now. I would say Celtic are quite a good opportunity. So again, that seemed promising. And then today, a little bit of a sucker punch. A tweet from Mark Hendry read, "Update. Reports in Korea have confirmed this morning that Cho Gue-sung wants Mainz move as his close friend Lee Jae-sung is there." I did mention this in the past, that Mainz already had a South Korean player at the club. Obviously the Bundesliga in general has been very good to South Korean and Asian players over the years and currently, so I did wonder if that may play a part in it, judging from those reports coming out of Korea that may be definitive and it may be Mainz who get Cho, which would be very disappointing from a Celtic point of view, given that he's clearly a player we want. We've bid, I think, more than once for him. Certainly our last bid, the club were said to be confident that it would be accepted. And it's very clear, I think, that Ange wants to sign the South Korean striker. So it would be disappointing. Having said that, I'm always reluctant to read into every single development. We've signed plenty of players in the past after reports maybe suggesting that the deal wasn't going to happen. I tend to just have a kind of laissez-faire approach. Leave the club to it, leave the player to it. If a deal happens, he'll play for Celtic. If not, we move on, to quote a famous Celtic tweet. I understand that for this channel, I kind of have to talk about it. It'd be a boring channel if I just came on and went, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So I get that we do have to chat about it, but I wouldn't be getting massively worked up about it. I think it's clear that Ange is very well organised in the transfer window, and even if this deal doesn't happen and it's a blow, I think he'll have other options in the pipeline for us. A couple of the names that we've already spoken about, we've had the other Korean forward, Oh Hyun-gyu, been mentioned, although not too recently, not kind of in the last 10 days or so. The Rosenborg striker, or former Rosenborg striker, Kasper Tengsted, was also mentioned, but he's actually signed for Benfica in the last couple of days. And there's another name, and bear with me here, I'm going with Szymon Wlodarczyk, Polish striker who plays for Górnik Zabrze was mentioned by Fabrizio Romano on a kind of Polish sports show on YouTube last night. Romano, I think, linked us as well as Anderlecht, Freiburg and some clubs in Serie A with the Polish striker. So that was one as well. Mark Hendry, the aforementioned Mark Hendry, actually tweeted as well to say that he thought there was something to Celtic's interest, but Cho was a priority at that stage. So will we go for the Polish striker? Will we go for the other South Korean striker? Will we get a new name? I think Celtic are going to have a list of options here. But I wouldn't write off the Cho stuff yet. It just seems like you get loads of different reports and you wonder how much, credibility there actually is to all of them. We don't know, so I suppose we can only speculate at this stage. That's kind of it in terms of transfer stuff. There have been various reports about Josip Juranovic and Georgios Giakoumakis. I'm not sure I really want to go into them massively. There's nothing definitive there. I'd say both are still kind of heading for the Celtic exit. But, reports of various clubs being interested. I would much rather spend our time talking about the match here tomorrow night, and I think you'd rather hear that at this stage as well. So yeah, we move on to tomorrow night. It's a game that fans have been looking forward to for months, quite literally, because our last match in this tournament was actually on October the 19th. Now, VAR, or VAR, wasn't even in place at that stage. That was actually the final game Celtic played before it came in at Tynecastle. Quick question for you. Who have we beaten to get to this stage? Two teams. And you're out of time. Ross County, obviously up in Dingwall, and Motherwell at Fir Park, with that Motherwell match being the last one in this tournament on October the 19th. Big changes since then. We were still a Champions League team at that stage. The tournament that we're playing in tomorrow has changed name since then, weirdly enough, mid-season. Back then it was the Premier Sports Cup. It was live on Premier Sports. Now it's called the Viaplay Cup, and it is live on, you guessed it, Viaplay. They bought over Premier Sports in the middle of last year. So yeah, you can see the branding there. It's changed, but it's still the League Cup, and Celtic will still have their eyes on winning it. And yeah, can't wait for it. I mean, a lot of it comes down to the kick-off time. I know I go on about this a lot, but it's just magic. Saturday, 5:30, folk are going to be up for it. You're not going to be, have just woken up a couple of hours ago like semi-finals often are at Hampden here. And I think when you look back at these kind of Saturday night games in years gone by, I think we've had a couple of them. Hibs here in 2019, St Johnstone here in it would be November 2021. Both of those pretty memorable. Both Celtic victories, both great atmospheres, both massive Celtic support. So I think it's going to be great tomorrow. We're probably going to have close to 40,000 Celtic fans congregating here at Hampden. Kilmarnock tweeted earlier to say that they'll have just over 7,000. So it's going to be like a home match for Celtic. I'm just really looking forward to it. In terms of team news, now Ange did speak to the media earlier today.
In terms of from last game, nothing different. The guys who sort of coming back from injuries, except for Greg Taylor, all of them trained today, which is good. So they're all sort of back on deck. I'm talking about sort of Ralston, Haksabanovic, McCarthy, Welsh. They're all back training, which is good, but they've only really had one session. So yeah, I guess for tomorrow, no real change from last week.
So just to reiterate, we'll be out without Ralston, Haksabanovic, McCarthy and Welsh. I don't know if any of them would really have started anyway, but it's a wee bit of a shame we haven't seen more of the likes of Ralston and Haksabanovic over the last couple of weeks. This is my team for tomorrow, by the way. I'm going with Joe Hart in goals. Ben Siegrist has, I think, missed the last couple of Celtic games. He hasn't been on the bench due to injury. I'm not sure whether he's back fit, given that Ange didn't actually mention him at the press conference. I think if he is fully fit, he could potentially play. He's played the last couple of games in this cup. He played against Ross County and Motherwell, so I wonder if Ange will play him tomorrow night. But if he's not fully fit, I think it will be Joe Hart. I don't think there's any danger of it being Scott Bain. But anyway, if it's Siegrist or Hart, I don't think it makes a massive difference. I could probably play nets. I could have on Saturday against Killie. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about that. In front of Hart, we're going for Johnston, CCV, Starfelt and Bernabe. In midfield, I'm going with Callum McGregor, who was great in the press yesterday again. Aaron Moy and Rayo Hatate, with a front three of Jota, Kyogo and Maeda. I think that team kind of picks itself. I know some people might think O'Reilly will come back in. He could very well, but I just think Aaron Moy was excellent last week. I really like Aaron Moy. I think in games against teams when they're kind of packed in a bit, you quite like his creativity. So I would go with that midfield, but we could see O'Reilly in, we could see Abada in, for example. In terms of officials for tomorrow, and just a reminder, as I say, VAR is in operation tomorrow. The referee is Willie Collum. He'll be assisted by Dougie Potter and Gordon Crawford. The fourth official is Grant Irvin. On the VAR is Greg Aitken, and the assistant VAR is John McCrossan. So yeah, that's kind of all the chat you need ahead of the game. I don't foresee any major issues for Celtic tomorrow. The players' attitude is usually spot on, and I think it almost helps, that it's going to be a real occasion tomorrow night. I think semi-finals in years gone by in this tournament can be difficult affairs, quiet stadium, stuffy opposition. I remember, obviously we've lost plenty of semi-finals over the years at Hampden, but even some of the ones we won in years gone by, I remember one against Falkirk, would have been probably 2012 here, and we won that, but it was a stuffy match and it was quiet. We're not going to have that problem at all tomorrow night. Hampden is going to be jumping like it was last year in the semi-final against St Johnstone, and I really think the Celtic players will feed off that. It'd be great to get a big victory. I'm not so sure it will be. I think it could be tight, even tighter maybe than last weekend, but even if it is goalless going into the last half an hour, or even if we fall behind, the team won't panic at all. They have total belief in themselves, and I think that makes us, or should make us, feel very confident. So if you're coming to Hampden tomorrow, enjoy yourself. It's kind of bleak at the moment, a bit dreich. I'm not sure what the weather's to be like tomorrow, but I'd say wrap up, bring a hood, and enjoy yourself. If you're not going to the game, watch it. It's live on Viaplay Sports or likewise around the world, and we will have a reaction for you after the game as well from Hampden Park. So we'll chat to you then. Fingers crossed we're in the final of the League Cup by that stage.